Hello, YouTube. I thought I should make like a clarification video on what happened with Hage. I got that profile picture, and Hage was our pet turkey that died. And there's a lot more to it than just a picture on a profile. It wasn't me hunting turkeys or anything like that. There was a lot more involved to it. Um, so it's been one of the busiest years. I'm not complaining. It's been like really busy in weird ways. And every time I tried to discuss or talk about it or communicate it, I have to also think about the psychological well being of my children, my wife, or anyone else involved. And I can't say much because talking about it makes a lot of emotions and confusion arouse. So I'll just leave it short and simple. Uh, Hage was basically born too early, and he was deformed at birth, but somehow pulled out of it after 2 or 3 days. But forever had a hunchback, and as he got a little bit older, and we started helping him to get on his feet and start to walk and things, we realized that he wasn't just disabled; he was literally autistic, and all of his characteristics of how he went about his daily routine and stuff was exactly like our son with autism. And the way he communicated as in a group socially with the other turkeys, he was just, it wasn't just that he was different, he literally had autism. He did exactly the same things. He was super smart, super intelligent for things that the other turkeys weren't really understanding or available to understand about. So, our youngest son, who has autism, uh, befriended Hage, and they were pretty much inseparable whenever they were in the yard together and stuff. Corky and Hage were very close. And if anything were to happen out in the yard, say like with uh, the stud turkey that we have named Tom, he sometimes becomes kind of violent during seasons when he's wanting to mate. He'll be very, he was, he used to be very rough or try to even fight you and stuff or chase you. But Hage would completely encircle Corky and keep anything from ever happening to Corky. Like he would keep Tom back to the point that we would have to separate him and put Tom up. And it would just happen like this over the years that we were learning how to uh, keep them separated, and what Hage was really about. That he was actually very loving and very smart for just a turkey. And he uh, wanted to be with us anywhere we were. He it was basically like a parrot. Like he wanted to be wherever we were.
Yeah, he's basically like a.
And of all the turkeys that we raised, um, and they went to multiple different homes when we kind of thinned out the herd a while back. But we kept Hage because we knew that nobody was going to think about this guy like we did. You know? Like, nobody was going to say, oh, this is a turkey with autism. We should, like, give him a little extra care. And nobody's going to really do that in the area where we are. Like, it could be really dangerous for him if anybody has to do extra care or extra help with getting into and out of cages and stuff, that stuff kind of gets old, right? But for some people it doesn't. But we weren't able to find anybody who was interested, so we kept Hage, and we made him his own special little house out of a water tank, and put a heat lamp inside and stuff. So it was always 75 degrees, even if it was negative degrees outside. He had a nice little house that he stayed in, and we would go in there with him and clean it, and put a camera inside and watched him. And things just spurred off from that. That a turkey started showing us what it was like for a turkey, and he was just the sweetest guy ever. Even when he got parasites or whatever, and he pretty much let us know when all the other birds had parasites as well. He had special ways of talking to us with his beak, or letting us know like certain things with his eye gestures and facial movements. We kind of started picking up on what he was saying just from body language. And Tom has the same body language, but he doesn't show it to us. I mean, it's what we finally realized, that all turkeys have it, but they don't show it to humans. But Tom eventually did start trying to show it to us. But what happened was Corky was taking care of the birds one day, and giving them attention, and we were outside in the yard doing yard work, and Corky accidentally forgot to shut the chicken coop door, and which is no biggie, but all the chickens came out, and Tom and Hage got into a big fight in the yard, and where we live, there's a big hill behind of us and a rocky slope, and Hage fell all the way down that hill and fell off a rock cliff and landed on his head. And it should have, with the force that he hit it with, it should have killed him on impact, but it didn't. But it left his right side of his face paralyzed and destroyed his eye, and gave him severe brain damage that took us probably 3 weeks to get him kind of better to where he could actually be back to normal. But Hagen never really came back to normal, and where he couldn't use his eye, his good eye was his right side. He lost that when he fell down the hill, and so we gave him the best care that we could and tried to make him have a good time, you know. But for an animal, it's not just an injury. It's they're not happy if they can't be themselves. So over time, Hage gradually stopped being able to be Hage, and he didn't like that. And literally one day, he didn't eat for 2 or 3 days, and then ate all of his food. And I thought that was really strange. And I started checking out his crop, and I found that he had a terrible crop infection. But Hage had never been sick before in a way that he couldn't pass food through his digestive tract. But we realized that after 2 or 3 days, and on a Sunday, not being able to reach any veterinarians or anything in our area in Kentucky where there's chickens, there's no one available to just suddenly call, hey, I got an emergency with a pet bird. There's nothing like that here. 2024, there's no, I have nothing available right in front of me that says, call this place if you have birds. I ask all the feed places. I ask Tractor Supply. Nothing. There's nothing. There is absolutely nothing here. There is, try the best you can with this medicine and this needle, and if it doesn't work out, sorry, it's just a bird.
Okay, yeah.
But that's
No, it's more than just a bird.
that's what it is. And I got sicker and sicker to the point that I gave him LA 300 turkeys of an adult turkey's dose, and he did good for a couple days. He started pulling out of it, and he started feeling better. He started eating, but then something hurt, in his crop where he'd not been able to digest anything, and we realized that he had probably eaten a bunch of wood chips. We went to his nesting box and started looking around at some of his droppings, and we found wood chips in his droppings. So the pine wood chips, which are safe for birds, he had been eating them because he was starting to just not be okay. He was where he got in the brain damage when he fell down the hill. He was not okay, and so we realized how serious this was, that he had wood chips blocking his crop to where he couldn't pass it. And it was in such a place that if I were to cut it open and pull out everything from his crop, he was already pretty weak. So I decided to give him just pure electrolytes and see if it would digest. Just keep giving him electrolytes because I had nobody else to talk to figure out what to do. And none of that worked. He got weaker and weaker. But then he started having really bad diarrhea, like coccidiosis diarrhea. So that I saw how serious it was at that point. So I went ahead and gave him another LA 300 shot, and that was a big no-no. His body temperature and his heart rate climbed right after that, and Haggy got a heart attack and died right there in front of all of us. And he brought so much to our life, this little bird. I never went turkey hunting or had turkeys other than, going to the flea market and seeing them. But here we are, we got this autistic turkey that's able to reach into all of our hearts and be there and give us, he could even smile. It was just a turkey, but it was more than, let's take off that name for a minute. It was basically an American parrot. It's what it was like to me. Turkey's just a name given so that when we go to the supermarket, we see a whole big group of turkeys and we buy one. We know it goes on a sandwich. That's all we care about. But that ain't what I seen. That ain't what I seen at all. Like, if I'd known, I would have probably stopped eating them from day one. Like, I would never have eaten one if I knew that they were that smart and that loving. Ever. So, I don't care about business at that point. I don't care how much your business is making. I'm not about trying to destroy your future business. I'm just like, I'm not eating something that cares about another autistic child or another human being, or comes up to you to peck at your feet to make sure that you're getting any attention, when you're feeling down. Haga was like that. And we had to bury him, because he's one little thing can end it all. We can be there for them, but they can't be there for us. So that's the profile pic. And yeah, it was like that. And yeah, I am living it. It's not just cut and go. It's not just, hi, I felt this, see you later. Sorry, I didn't really feel anything. No, like, this was for real. Like, this turkey was about making us realize that we were its parents. Just like a human child. On many, many levels. So when he died, we lost a child, is what it felt like. It even felt like that for our son. And it was very dramatic and shocking because as of all the things that he'd been through and gotten stronger, I was expecting at least 10 years he's going to be alive. Like, at least we're going to make it to that far because
Yeah.
he's tough. We were all thinking like that. So when he died, well, nobody here was ready for that, you know? So, in the middle of putting new floors in, putting new bathroom together, putting windows in the house, putting new air conditioning systems in, doing an overhaul job on our lawnmower, redoing everything that you could think of all at the same time. Anything anybody could find for because of why they're upset about this stuff. All these misunderstandings and non-communications. All the way to the school system that has neglected. If there was any higher level of learning of neglect this year, it would definitely be like if somebody were to place me on the moon and be like, here, try to do this because you achieved it so well at this. You must now live on the moon. There's zero good communication happening between anyone. To the point that it's a lot like hell. And the reason why it's like that is because everybody has their own version of what they want and what they want to get attention for. But Hage, he taught me that one thing he wanted attention for was to just be able to be at peace. Like, he just wanted to just be at peace. He didn't want to be messed with. He was already at peace, you know? And he wanted to make sure you were at peace. He wasn't, like, completely caught up in his own dramatized, like, he wasn't like other birds where they got to be, like, constantly busy. Like, oh my God, you looked at me, I'm going to peck your head. Like, it wasn't like that. Hage was just chilling, and he would look over at you, and he'd be like, oh, you feel good too? Cool. Come here, I'm going to, peck at your feet. And sometimes he'd take his wing, and he would raise it up and be like, here, scratch my belly. And he was different from any turkey, I swear, that I've ever seen. Too cute. And it really, I guess in the way that we lost him and how it happened, and our neighbors letting their pit bulls run free in the streets, and Hage's girlfriend was actually a chicken getting eaten earlier that morning by one of the pit bulls. It was a bad day. And then Hage died. And my wife had just finished her work that weekend where she'd been picked on by everybody at work. And she finally went to HR and got stuff handled. All of this happened on that last day of work. All of the personal issues that we're not allowed to discuss the witchcraft, the anti cultural aspect of things, the corporate. Let's hide behind the corporate wall and not talk about what's really going on anymore. Turkeys in the supermarket, holiday, Thanksgiving. I did this because of who I am. Brainwash. Yeah, I saw through all that. It hits hard when reality sets in. When reality really does come for you, it takes it all. It doesn't have mercy. I watched all of our happiness get taken in one day. Could it have been worse? Yeah, it could have been worse. I don't think that the point of things is to see how much worse they can get, though. Unless we're working towards making things worse. If that's the way we're going, doing a hell of a job.